Welcome back to Check Out the Stat by your girl Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. First of all, South Carolina women's basketball team is on fire, and today we'll talk to a college football player entering his 9th year. But first, we got to start with our Superwoman of the Week. Today's Superwoman of the Week is Dawn Staley. She's the University of South Carolina's head coach, and I gotta show some love because they have been on fire. They're the #1 ranked college women's basketball team with a 17-0 record. They have plenty of talent, but a lot of respect has to be given to Dawn. So in 23 seasons as a head coach, she led her college team to 13 25-win seasons and a total of 19 postseason appearances. So I'm going to read her resume as a Gamecock. She has 2 national championships. She has 5 NCAA Final Fours in the last 8 tournaments. She's ranking in the AP Top 25 every week since December 10th, 2012. That's over 10 plus years. This is the 3rd longest active streak in the nation. She's 38 straight weeks ranked #1 in the AP poll, just the 3rd program to go wire to wire in that poll in back-to-back seasons. She has 6 30-win seasons, including a program record of 36 wins in 2022 to 2023. She has 7 SEC regular season championships. I'm not going to lie, y'all, her resume goes on. As we know, their women's team has had a lot of great chemistry. They've been winning consistently, and a lot of that comes down to her. She's been killing it. She is a great coach, and I'm excited to see how South Carolina continues to win. So moving along, we're going to get into Talk to Stat. So for this week's in women's sports, I'm just going to go over a lot of the trending topics that have been happening this week. So the LSU versus South Carolina game was a big game, must-see TV. Tickets were going for as high as $3,000 for a women's college basketball team. And this isn't from Caitlin Clark. This is from LSU in South Carolina. So like I always say, if y'all are not tapped in, y'all gotta tap in. Also this week, the Pro Volleyball Federation had their first ever match kick off in Omaha on Wednesday night. So if you're still a little bit unsure of what the Pro Volleyball Federation match is, I did interview Asia O'Neal a couple episodes back. Make sure to go check out that episode. She was the first pick for the first ever Pro Volleyball Federation draft. So she made history. And you know, on my show, I like to choose people who are first in making history, which is what we'll also get into later in this episode. But y'all got to stick around and see. The 2024 McDonald's All-American roster dropped for women, and a lot of the girls obviously have been killing it in high school, but looking at the schools that they've signed to, we've got Clemson on here, Vanderbilt, Ohio State, Texas, UConn, UCLA, and a couple girls committed to South Carolina. So next year, they're just going to add a lot more fuel to the fire. Also this week, Caitlin Clark celebrated her 22nd birthday on January 22nd. So this is a big year for her. She was also a McDonald's All-American back in high school, and she was rated the 4th best player in her class by ESPN. I feel like some way, somehow, I'm going to figure out a way to drop Caitlin Clark's stats in here because I really want you guys to tap in and know who she is, okay? Of course, she is seen as one of the best college women's basketball players, and she continues to break records. She went a little viral this week for not something that happened on the court, but something that happened after the game. She was running past the court. Some fan ran into her, and she fell backwards completely. And it was a whole scuffle on social media because everybody's like, Caitlin Clark hit her. The girl didn't hit her. Whatever you guys think about the situation, they both got hit, but they're both okay. And that's what matters because we don't have time for Caitlin Clark to get hurt right now because we got to see her on the court. So I'm happy that they are both okay. But guys, we're going to go to break, and when we return, we will get into Ain't No Way.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. What's stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free. Why am I in this woman? She wanna be free. Hell, I don't wanna see her walk away. I I wish somebody told me the rules. Disagreements let her win, and it's cool. Even when I'm right, this ain't about.
Welcome back. Now we're going to get into Ain't No Way. Moving along to the crazy things that have happened this week. Ain't no way this college football player is returning for his 9th year. Miami tight end Cam McCormick made history for returning for his 9th year of college football. This is the longest college football career ever. Everyone's got a lot of questions, but y'all know me, I like to get answers. So today I'm joined with Cam McCormick. Cam, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. That's good. Okay, so let's get right to it, right? So first of all, you live in Miami now. How's the city of Miami? You know, I graduated from there last year. I loved it. How's the vibes?
Coming from Oregon, which was like a small, like little college town, there really wasn't much going on. Being out here in Miami, it's like super busy. It's hectic, but like I like it. I like the change of scenery, the diversity that's out here, the culture. It's been great being out here for this first year, really. Like I couldn't like say enough great things about living out here.
Yeah, that's dope. I miss the city of Miami. Right now I live in Vegas. I mean, I feel like it's the closest you can get to Miami, but nothing's
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
Miami.
close.
Yeah, so I
No,
definitely
nothing is like Miami. There's everything you want to do out here whenever you want to do it, which is nice. That's what I liked about coming over here from, Oregon. There was options to do things if I wanted to do things. Like in Eugene, it was like there was like one option and that was the only option.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Okay, so let's start with your background, right? Growing up, was football always the goal? Like, did you always have a love for football? When did that kind of come about?
I didn't always have a love for football. I think it started maybe in middle school, start of high school. I'm originally from Mesa, Arizona, so growing up in the heat, I never really wanted to play football and play with like football pads on. I just thought like I'm okay. I was really playing basketball and are you there?
Yeah, it's your close up. Now you're good. You're good.
Oh, I originally started playing basketball and baseball. And when I had moved to Bend, Oregon, is when I was like, oh, I'm going to start trying to play football again. And that was the start of high school. And that's really when I got back into it, from, playing like Pop Warner when I was little. But it was really when I got up to Oregon to play high school. And that's when I really found like a love for it again. And so I really tried to like say like, hey, this is something that I think I could do long term.
Dope. So at one point, were you playing baseball, football, and basketball at the same time, or did you kind of close in on one sport? Like when did that transition
No,
happen?
when I got to high school is when I really, I was playing. I mean, they're all different seasons, so like I was playing basketball and football, and then I ran track in high school. But those are the three things in high school that I stuck to.
Okay, dope. So when you were in Oregon, right, you were listed as the number 2 football prospect in this state. So when did you graduate high school? And at the time, I know you first committed to Oregon. Was that like a no-brainer because you were growing up there? Or did you feel like you had a lot of tough decisions to make?
Yeah, I think that it was a no-brainer for me, just because it was. I mean, Oregon, they have all these resources. It was close to home. And at the time, I really liked the coaching staff that was there. I was recruited by Mark Helfrich, who ended up getting fired after his first season there, or my first season there. But yeah, that was probably like, the main reasons, like in a short thing kind of why I really decided to go to Oregon. I ended up graduating high school in 2016. I graduated high school early, so I could enroll at the University of Oregon early to help kind of rehab a knee injury that I dealt with senior year of high school. So,
Got it. So you had a knee injury your senior year of high school, and then when you had your freshman year at Oregon, you were redshirted. Were you redshirted because of your knee injury, or was it something else that came about?
No, there was three senior tight ends at the time that were at Oregon, and I was okay with redshirting. Like I didn't feel like I was ready to play my freshman year, coming off of the injury, and just like not being the same size as everybody else. So I used that freshman year to really just put on weight, learn as much as I could from those older guys, and prepare myself for the 2017 season to hopefully get some time on the playing field.
Dope. Okay, so let's fast forward from your redshirt season to your first season, right? Which is an exciting time for all athletes. How do you feel like your first season went for you personally?
Personally, I think it went as planned. I played in all 13 games. I think I started in 3 of them or 2 of them. And it was like for my first season, playing, I was like, okay, I'm getting a taste of college football. I'm playing. We were winning some games, and it like made me hungry to further my skill set to order to be the best player that I can be for the next upcoming season. And that's kind of where I had taken that step in the off season. Was like, okay, so 2017 was that first year playing. 2018 was that like supposed to be that breakout year that I was supposed to have. Me and the other tight end were basically battling for the starting position, and it really came down to the wire throughout the whole offseason camp to the first game, and it was like a game time decision of who was going to start the game. And I was fortunate enough to be able to start that game, and then unfortunately I broke my leg in like the end of the first half. So
right. Well, sorry to hear that, because I know that's really frustrating for you. And I know throughout your career you had a couple of injuries, so which is completely out of your control, I think. But when you were having injuries throughout your career at Oregon, were they like the same type of injuries or were they different?
Yeah, so my time at Oregon, it was all kind of the same injury. The first injury that I had in 2018 was an ankle. I tore a ligament in my ankle and broke my leg. And then what they used to repair that, the torn ligament, basically the following year caused me to, basically rupture or not rupture. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
What they put in to repair the torn ligament caused me to have basically a fracture in the bone that they had, the ligament was attached to. And then the following year after that, because I had to get that fixed, so they had to basically heal the bone, put 2 screws in there to heal the bone. And then when they put those 2 screws in, those 2 screws were impinging on a ligament, and it caused me to rupture a ligament in my foot, in my ankle. So like it kind of all stemmed from the one injury that, these problems occurred year after year after year. And then as soon as I, felt I went to a new doctor and then felt good to go. It was the 2021 season at this point. My first game back was Ohio State, and we went to Columbus and we had beat them at home. I tore my Achilles on the other foot. So it was just like a freak thing, but I mean, it's the path. It's the journey that we're all on. So,
okay. So I got to ask, you named a couple injuries, which is really sad. And I'm really sorry that happened to you. And then in addition, it was like, boom, 2019 COVID. And then like things just kind of kept happening. How did you remain positive through it all? Like, what was your mental space like? Like, how was your mindset thinking? Like, what were you thinking throughout all this? Because that's a lot to go through,
Yeah, it definitely was a lot to go through. Really, there were times in COVID, it got really bad just because of like we can't be around each other.
Right.
So like all this time, like I'm waking up every day, my ankles feeling like 100. It is walking, sleeping, sitting, thinking about it. It's just hurting. Right.
Yeah.
And COVID, I'm by myself. Like I can't be around my family, can't be around my teammates. Like that was probably the worst year just because like I was ready to quit football. Because it did really take a toll on me mentally. But being able to go and see and talk to that new doctor that I had got the surgery from in 2020 really kind of gave me, like, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel when I went and met with him, because it was really like he knew what it was. He knew how he was going to fix it. And he told me like how long I was going to be out for, like, because leading up to that, I thought I was going to be out for a whole nother year after that. And I was like my football career might just be over then. Like, and I was coming to the conclusion even before that, like, hey, it might be time to just hang it up, right? Like, I can't keep playing with this pain in my foot mentally and physically. So I was like, I was prepared. I understand that football does end at some point, right? And I was preparing myself for that when that does come. But when I had went and met with him and he told me everything that he was going to do to fix it and how like optimistic he was, I was like, oh, this is a win-win situation for me. Like, I'm going to be back playing in a year and better than ever.
Yeah.
Which I was. And then I tore my Achilles on the opposite foot and had to go through rehab all over again.
Dang. Well, one, shout out to the doctor for giving you that hope, because, at that point, I know a lot was going through your head. But like moving to your 2022 season, right? So you did finish. I got your little stats. You had 10 receptions, 66 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You played in all 13 games with 6 starts. So how did you feel about your performance that season in 2022 at Oregon?
I felt really good about that performance. That was the role that I was given on the team at the time. And you make the best of the opportunities that you're presented in front of yourself with. That's what I did. That year was a special year just for myself because of my first year fully playing, right? And also I lost a team best friend of mine, Spencer Webb, before that season. So I was able to honor him in the first game and score my first touchdown back in 4 years wearing his jersey. So, that season is always going to be special to me. And that room that we had then, it was a super close room and a tight end room. And, I can't thank those guys enough for, making that one of the best years of football that I've been a part of.
That's dope. And also sorry for your loss, because that is...
It's tough.
Yeah, it's a lot. So also at the end of the 2022 season, right? Academically, right? What were you studying? What were you majoring in? What also were your other interests?
Yeah, so I didn't have any injuries at the end of 2022. You said in 2020?
2022, your academic season. We talked about your sports, but academically, what were you, studying?
Yeah, so I had got my bachelor's in journalism with a focus in advertising. I had graduated with that in 3.5 years. And then the start of COVID is when I started my master's program. And I received my master's in advertising and brand responsibility. And I had got that right before the 2022 season. Yeah, right before the 2022 season. So it had taken me, I had just, extended the period of time it was going to take me to, complete that program, just because of, the situations that I was blessed with to be able to, have those extra years. And then played 2022 season, ended up transferring over here to Miami. Right. And over here, I'm kind of just taking classes to, further my knowledge upon certain skill sets that I could use, in my next, opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Jobs, whatnot.
Yeah.
Like business classes, things along those lines.
Dope. So you studied journalism. You didn't want to become a journalist?
No, I think I enjoyed it, and I just don't think I have a passion for it much anymore.
That's fair. Dang, that kind of hurts, because I studied journalism, so I was like, you there's space, the journalism table, but it's okay. I understand. Yeah, I definitely understand.
It was a lot more advertising though too, so I was behind the scenes, making all those graphics and whatnot.
Yeah, a mix of things. Okay, so throughout your career, right, your first couple years at Oregon, through injuries, school, football, as we know now, you went through a lot, right? You didn't end your career. You decided to end the transfer portal. Why?
I felt like I had done everything I could at Oregon. I had been there 7 years. I lost a couple teammates, and I just felt like I wanted some change. And it's no hard feelings to Oregon or anybody there, because I love Oregon. I love those people. They provided me with 2 degrees, lifelong relationships, friendships, mentors that I've, crossed paths with, like opportunities. But I felt like I wanted to experience something new. I was really familiar with Coach Cristobal. He believed, like, when I was all those years I was injured, he really believed in me. He took care of me. His word was his word, and he was just loyal. Like, so that was the main reason why I decided to come down here to Miami, was, to follow Coach Cristobal, because I know that the type of competitor he is, he he wants to win, he wants to do well. He's hungry, and that's, I like to be a part of that, because I want to win, I want to compete, I want to do well. Like, I'm hungry to win. So, and I'll do anything it is that, to win. I also see the trajectory of this program and where it's going. And obviously Miami, the U is, it's a big backstory there. The tradition, just everything about it is just really what led me into making my decision to come down here.
Yeah. I respect it. And trust me, I get it, because I bleed orange and green. So I definitely get it all the way. I love Miami. Okay. So since you transferred, right, you started all 13 games there, and now you're eligible to return for a 9th season. So how do you feel since that option was granted to you?
Yeah, so I found out about that option. Well, it had been approved in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had transferred over here and got to the ACC, I had to just basically like reapply for it. But it had been approved a month after me getting here. So I knew leading up to the season, like, hey, like, I have this option. Like, if I have a good season, great. I can try for the NFL. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew in the back of my head, like, hey, I have another year. So if I want to capitalize on everything that comes with that, I can do that as well. And, there's a lot of things that go into that decision, but like, ultimately it's like the NFL isn't really going to go anywhere, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's still the NFL. And if you're a football player, you're a football player. If you're good, you're good. Like, there's going to be a spot for you. So, I felt like I'm not in like a super rush to get to the NFL, right? Like, I'm essentially like a coach, right? Like, I'm not, but I'm a mentor to a lot of people on the team, right? And I help them, like, I can help them in a lot of ways because I've just been around the game for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to play another season under, these coaches is everything. And, the opportunities that I'm fortunate with really is what it boils down to.
Right. At the end of the day, that's what you love to do. So you're going to do what you love to do.
Yeah.
So,
like,
okay.
And football, like, it'll end at some point, it ends for everybody. So it's like, I'm not in a big rush to just let it end when I have, one more year to play it. When everybody plays 3 to 4 years of college football. You're like, yeah, my journey is a lot different. Like, I've been in college for 9 years. Like, yes, I've heard that plenty of times. It is what it is. But I've only played this will be my third season. I just finished my third season and I'm going on my fourth, which everyone has the opportunity to do, so I wasn't going to like just give up a year because, that's not what the normal is. Right.
Fair point. So what was, the reaction from your friends and family when you said you were returning from a 9th year? Because I feel like that's like the word that everybody's stuck on. They're just like, 9th year, but it's like, I got to hear from you, your story. That's why I wanted you to come on this show to explain your side. Because it's like, how are you going to judge or think something about, you haven't even heard what he had to say. You know what I'm saying? People are just seeing the headlines. So what was your friends and family's reaction?
I mean, everybody was really supportive. They understood what I've gone through to get to where I'm at, like, it's not just like I just wasn't good enough to play or, like that, anything like that. It was like I was physically out because of an injury that was out of my control. Like, I'm not the one that's doing the surgery to fix it. I'm not the one that's, behind the needle, cut me open to operate on me. Like, I'm just there doing the rehab that is provided to me to be able to play. And I'm trusting everyone around me that's saying, hey, this is basically your plan to be able to, return to play. And we're going to go with that. And And just a lot of people don't really understand like all the things behind the scenes. Like everyone just sees like football, like game, like when the ball is spotted on Saturday, that's all they see. It's like, so, all my family and friends were like, they understand like what it's taken me to get here. So they were all really supportive of my decision. And yeah.
See, that's dope. So on your Instagram, you posted it as the final ride. What is your end goal?
My end goal is to get an opportunity to play in the NFL. And I mean, it could be, I just want the opportunity. I want to say that I had the opportunity to make it to the NFL, and that's whether or not it works out, it works out, and I'm going to give everything I have to it for this final year, for the years to come. Or hey, the NFL is it just didn't work out. But at least I said I gave it my all, and that's what I wanted to do from the jump, is give it everything, give it my all. Like I was never going to quit. I've never been a quitter, and I've always been told not to quit. So it's like I'm going to finish out what I started. I came here to start, and that's what I want to try to achieve is the NFL. I want to be able to be in the NFL, say that I made it to the NFL.
Right. I respect it. And at the end of the day, this is your life and your life story, and you got to do what's best for you. There's going to be a lot of things, but I'm just going to say keep going, do what you got to do. Where can people follow you and then follow your journey?
What do you mean?
Like your socials. That's just like a nice journalistic way to say it.
Where can people follow me?
Yeah.
You could, Twitter, Instagram, McCormick_Cam. That's where you could follow me, follow my journey. I mean, I'm trying to get better at posting, using social media, building my brand up, but everything that comes with time. So.
Dope. Cam, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Now we're going to get into Tell Me What's Up, because the stats wouldn't be the stats without questions and answers from you guys. So there are two things that are trending this week that you guys wanted me to discuss. First one being Mariah the Scientist visiting her boo, Young Thug, in jail, and the leaked phone call. So for those who don't know, Young Thug is on trial. It's been a long trial. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of the clips surfacing on Twitter, online, everywhere. And so, Young Thug and Mariah the Scientist are in a relationship, and she went to go visit her man. Now, the thing about this visit was a little bit different because people decided to leak the phone call audio between her and Young Thug. Now, there are a lot of various responses, people saying she's a real one. Then there's people saying that it was corny, cringy. At the end of the day, I can only respect her because, one, that video shouldn't have been leaked in the first place. That's a very private video. I mean, if you're in this situation, you're visiting your girl or your man and they're in jail and you cannot see them for months, you go talk and say whatever you want to say. She wasn't expecting that video to get leaked. So I don't like that video has circulated around because I don't think that's fair. I think we need privacy to a certain extent, and that's definitely a line crossed. And she said how she felt, just like you interact with whoever you're with, you would never expect those audios, videos, anything to be leaked out. So I think that's pretty crazy that even is circulating around. I'm never going to bash somebody for expressing their emotions, and she expressed hers. So that's my thoughts on that. The next one is a video interview with Lil Wayne saying people hate on Drake because he's light-skinned. Some of the responses that you guys said is that's part of it, but dude is dope and a generational talent. Somebody else said, facts, he's light-skinned dominating a space where you're supposed to be tough. Somebody also said, Drake is white, I'm confused. And somebody else said, we don't trust them light-skinned ninjas all the time, but Drake is fire. I feel like hating on Drake in 2024 or even 2023 doesn't make sense. I mean, he's dominating the music space right now. Drake makes a lot of good music, and if you say you don't like Drake, that's fine. That's your own opinion, but we're all going to hear him regardless. Hating on him because he's light-skinned, I think anybody at that sort of fame, is going to be looked at in a microscope, and everything that he does gets judged because he's Drake. Just like, Beyonce's a lot more secretive with what she does, and I'm not comparing Drake to Beyonce, but somebody at that level, people are going to put you in a microscope, and Drake just happens to be out there. He has his son's music video posted. He posts himself basketball courtside with hair clips. Like, people are going to nitpick everything he does. I feel like I take a little bit of a different stance on this because I see how critical people get about things that I feel like you shouldn't be that critical about. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I think Drake continues to make fire music. But saying that he gets hated on because he's light skinned, it might be a couple other different things. That could be part of it, but I'm not saying it is. But that's up for y'all to decide. But that's it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stats so we can continue the discussion next week. And maybe your questions or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.